Hello, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tiffany, and I thought I would do a weekly reading vlog this week because, it's just kind of fun to update reading in that way, and I haven't done one in like 2 months, so I thought it would be fun to kind of do that. It is going to be a very busy week. So the second half of this week I am going to be at our new house painting, so that way I can get that painted. It's so much easier to paint if you can before you move into a house, because then you don't have to move all the furniture around. Like after I've already moved everything around and have boxes everywhere, I would just much rather everything already be all done. So I'm doing that this week and trying to finish up some packing stuff before I go. But I did want to talk about what I'm reading this week. So a few of these are kind of carryovers from last month, which I mentioned in my reading wrap up that I didn't finish all of them. So right now I'm reading All Things Wise and Wonderful by James Herriot. I'm almost done. I don't know if you can see where the bookmark is. I have 15 pages left, so I'll probably finish this at some point today. I was also reading The Cost of Discipleship by Dietrich Bonhoeffer, but I decided to put a pause on this book probably until next month, because I'm participating in a read-along of Mere Christianity that Krista from Books and Gems is putting on, and I have read 2 chapters in this so far, so I'm not very far in it, but Krista is doing live shows, which is super duper fun, every Sunday. I think the book's split up into 4 parts, so each week they're doing a new part, and so I think let me check, I think each part only has like 5 chapters or something. Some of them have more. Oh my gosh, the last 2 parts have like 12 and 11 chapters, but the first 2 only have 5. So yeah, so it should be easy for me to get all of that read for the first live show this Sunday, since I've already read 2 of them and it's Monday morning. And then the last book that I'm reading right now is I Capture the Castle by Dodie Smith. This is a buddy read with Shalise over it and read another chapter. And I have only read the first chapter so far, and I'm supposed to be on chapter 3 today, so I need to do a little bit of catching up there. But that is what I am physically reading. Right now I have a few different audiobooks going, one of which I'm listening to with my daughter as we are road tripping. So I'll update you more on that when we are driving, but I am almost 3/4 of the way, or maybe 2/3 of the way through The Wednesday Wars by Gary Schmidt on audio. So while I'm packing and doing things, I've been listening to audiobooks, and that's kind of helping me to consume more books, because I miss having the time to sit down and read. And now, like, the only time that I really sit down and read usually is like in the morning, like during my quiet times when I am reading my Bible. I've also been reading Mere Christianity right after that, and then like right before I go to bed, but my days have been busy and I've been kind of tired. So I'm very thankful for audiobooks in this season of my life. So yeah, I'm gonna take you along with us this week as we do all kinds of stuff and do some traveling, and try to finish up some schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. Also, I don't know if you can hear that sound. Someone decided it was a great idea to groom herself while I am trying to record. Filming yesterday because I was busy packing and stuff, but since I was so busy packing and everything, I got a lot of chance to listen to my audiobook. So I finished The Wednesday Wars yesterday, and oh my goodness, I really loved it. I wasn't expecting to love it as much as I did, quite honestly. Yeah, I just I loved it. Like, oh my goodness. I love Holling and his character arc throughout the book where he just like, he really grows up over the course of this school year. And he initially thinks that like Mrs. Baker hates him, but just the way that she invests in him is just so wonderful. I love all the Shakespeare references, especially because my daughter and I have been reading a lot of Shakespeare lately. And The Tempest is referenced in it a lot. And The Tempest was one of our favorite plays that we read this year. I also love Holling's relationship with his sister that develops throughout the book. And just, I mean, it explores so many topics that are still so relevant today. Like, it takes place during the Vietnam War, but you have like his sister who's more peaceable and, you know, wants to protest the Vietnam War. And you have like protests and riots in the street when Martin Luther King Jr. is assassinated and then Bobby Kennedy is assassinated, and just all of these things that are happening that it's still, I don't know, it just hit really close to home, even though it's not the same situation. There's still so much racial tensions and things like that going on. Yeah, I just thought it did a really good job of exploring those things in an age-appropriate way that still didn't hold back punches. There was just a lot of examination of racism towards like a Vietnamese classmate in particular, and I don't know, like I loved everything about it because right now I'm discussing all the heavy things, but I laughed out loud so many times reading this book, and oh my goodness, it's absolutely like a 5-star book. And then yesterday I finished All Things Wise and Wonderful by James Herriot, which is also a 5-star book. So it is May 5th, I think. Yeah, I think it's May 5th. And I have completed 2 books and they were both 5-star books. And that is a great way to kick off my month, even though I did carry the James Herriot over from last month. But the James Herriot book, a lot of people don't like it quite as much because it takes place during the war after he's been drafted into the Air Force. So I was a little concerned that there was going to be a lot of stories of like the Air Force and stuff, but there really wasn't. I mean, there was some, but a lot of the stories, something would be happening at the beginning of the chapter and he'd be like, oh, this reminds me of this time, you know, back home, and then he'd flash back. And so it definitely was more veterinary stories than army stories, but there was a few of them mixed in army stories as well. But yeah, it was just as charming and just as wonderful as the first 2 books, and oh my goodness, I just enjoy reading James Herriot so very much. So I am still reading I Capture the Castle. I'm like 2 chapters in, but I'm really liking it. I really like Cassandra, and I like her narrative style because it's basically her like writing in a journal, and I'm really enjoying that. And then last night I started Binti. This is super duper short. Yeah, it's like 90 pages. It's a sci-fi novella. And I'm liking it so far. I don't really understand what's going on too much because I'm only like 20 pages in. From what I understand, she is like going to outer space. And she didn't tell her family that she's like enrolled in this and is doing that. But I think that there's more. I don't know if it's like a trilogy, but I think there are more books in the series. But I am liking that so far. Sci-fi and I don't always get along, so we'll kind of see how it goes. But I figured since it was a novella, it was worth a shot. So yesterday, I pretty much got our basement finished. I have all of my bookshelves packed, but I still need to pack like school books, middle grade, and like all my daughter's books. So I have not even started packing those yet, but all of my books except for the ones I'm leaving out for Mood Reading May are packed. Today I probably need to do a little bit more packing, but the main thing is I need to go shopping and get some stuff for us to eat while we are in Kentucky painting for a few days. And I need to make a library run because I ordered a ton of books. And I don't know if I will really have a chance to read most of them, but I just wanted to have them there for Mood Reading May. And sometimes it takes a while to get a library card at a new place because you have to have, you know, proof of address and all that kind of stuff. And so I wanted to make sure that I took advantage of the library while I can in case I don't really have much access to library books in June. So those plus homeschooling are like the three main things I have to get done today. And then obviously I will try to do a little packing, but I need to start a new audiobook now that I'm done with the Wednesday Wars. I'm not really sure which one I'm going to go with yet, so I will update you on that when I pick one. So it's like the gloomiest day ever to be running errands. But we are back from the library, and our favorite librarian just got promoted to library director, so we got to go congratulate her, so that was really fun. And I thought I would share my library haul with you. I have I think 10 books here, so there's no way I'm gonna get to all these before I move. I just realized it's kind of echoey in here. Hopefully that doesn't come out in the video. I just took down like all our wall hangings, so it's feeling, except that one, it's feeling a little echoey in here. So hopefully that doesn't come off in the video. Anyway, I'm getting so distracted. I'm all over the place. I thought I would share what I got from library with you because I just wanted more materials to be able to mood read, basically. So the first one I have here is Mark of the Raven by Morgan L. Busey. Or maybe it's Buse, I'm not totally sure. Chantel at An Intentional Life has recommended this book several times, I think. So I'm looking forward to trying this one. This is probably kind of higher on my priority list. I have a cookbook. This Cook Once Eat All Week book. I have seen this all over Instagram. So many homeschool moms or busy moms that I follow have used this book. So you do like prep work one day where you cook pretty much all your ingredients, and then you just throw the stuff together for dinner every night or whatever. I think it's got like 3 or 4 meals per week. So it kind of makes it a lot more convenient, which I thought would be really helpful to try out, because we have been eating way too much takeout and garbage because I just am exhausted at the end of the day and don't feel like cooking. So I'm hopeful that maybe this will be helpful in that way. A lot of these recipes are really healthy. I'm pretty sure they're all gluten-free, and they have like dairy-free options because I can't have dairy. So yeah, I'm gonna give this a try and see how it goes. If I really like the book, I will probably go ahead and purchase the cookbook. I have 2 Susan Meisner books, The Shape of Mercy and Widows and Orphans. I have just been hearing a lot about Susan Meisner for a while, actually. I was gonna say recently, but it's been for a while, including recently. So I just kind of want to see what the hype is all about. I have not heard one person say that they have not liked her. So I figured I would see if I could give one of her books a shot. I have no idea what either of those books are about. So we have My Life with the Liars by Kayla Carter. This is another book that Chantel at An Intentional Life recommended. This is by the same author as Forever or A Long, Long Time, which was my only 5-star book in April. I really enjoyed that book. That one was about foster care. This book is about, I think, a kid who experiences like growing up in a cult. So I am fascinated with any book that has to do with cults, so this is probably kind of high up on my priority list as well. Another book that I got is Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. And how pretty is this cover? Isn't it gorgeous? I have heard both Krista at Books and Jams and Amanda at The Curly Reader recommend this book. It's a middle grade book, and I believe the girl is deaf, and she's trying to help a whale who communicates differently than the rest of his pod. Is it a pod of whales? It's not a herd of whales. I don't know exactly what the terminology is, but he communicates differently, and she's trying to help with that. So I really love when disability is well represented in middle grade. So this one sounded interesting. I have Eugene Onegin or Onegin. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce that. This is by Pushkin, and I've never read any Pushkin, but if you haven't been here for very long, you know that I absolutely love Russian literature. This is written entirely in verse, so maybe, yeah, so there's a lot less, like, there's big margins on the page and everything, so this might be an easier one to get through. I also picked up Palace of Lies, and this is book 3 in, I'm not sure what the trilogy is called actually, but the first book is Just Ella, which I read in March and loved. And then I read Palace of Mirrors in April and really loved that one too. Funny story, once I put up my April reading wrap up and everything, I was looking through my Goodreads afterwards, big mistake, and realized I never took notes on it, but I read Palace of Lies and never even included it in my wrap up video. Or Palace of Mirrors, sorry, this is Palace of Lies. But anyways, I really liked Palace of Mirrors. It didn't seem to go off of any specific fairy tale, but it is in a different kingdom and it was really fun. And Ella from Just Ella was in like the last like third of the book or so. And I'm assuming she's probably in this one too, but we'll see. This one sounded really good. And then the last book I have here is Legendborn by, who is this by? Tracy Dion. I have heard really good things about this book. It's a fantasy YA, and I think that the main character is college aged. She discovers something about having like magic in her ancestry, and I've heard that it kind of has some King Arthur vibes and lore in it, so that makes me even more interested in it. So this one is probably one that I would probably prioritize also. So depending on how much time I have, I don't know which of these I will get to, but these 4 are the ones I would prioritize. Eugene Onegin, Legendborn, Mark of the Raven, and My Life of the Liars. Those are the 4 that I would be most interested in reading right now. I guess my mood could change, so who knows. But yeah, we'll just kind of see where it takes us. I may look to see if some of these have good audiobooks too, because then it will help me get through them even more. I just realized I keep like sitting in this spot, so I guess it's like my spot of the week. But I just finished Binti. Like I said, it's really short, and I was pleasantly surprised to realize that the next 2 books in this trilogy are audiobooks available through my library, so I will probably like listen to those when I do some painting. But I really enjoyed this. So it's about a girl who she is of the Himba tribe, which is actually a real tribe in Nigeria. So that was kind of cool. And she gets accepted into this prestigious university on another planet. And this is like her journey there. I'm not going to really say much more about the plot than that, because anything beyond that gets pretty spoilery, especially since there's only 90 pages. But I thought it was interesting. Mathematics is very like woven into this story, and she's like I think it's called like a harmonizer, and she can like feel mathematical currents and manipulate them in ways. And so that was kind of interesting, almost like fantasy meets sci-fi. It was kind of cool. There is an element of something that happens in the book that's a pretty big plot point that I feel like it's like kind of a big deal, something that happens, and I kind of felt like it wasn't resolved very well. Maybe it will be in future books, but I feel like probably not. I feel like it would have been addressed, but I still did really like this book though, and I really thought it was interesting. There's a lot of intricacies to it, a lot of tribal things that are actually accurate to the Himba tribe, because the author is Namibian. So yeah, that was really interesting, and I enjoyed that. I'm not really sure what I'm gonna pick up next. I'm probably gonna pick up something tonight, because I'll probably read before I go to bed. This was interesting. Definitely was flawed in certain ways, but it's like the first sci-fi that I've read in recent days that I've actually enjoyed reading and haven't just felt like super confused or not connected to the characters at all. And I thought Binti was a really cool character. I really liked her and her development in this story. So the car is all loaded up and we are getting ready for the long several hundred mile, I think it's 400-mile trek to Kentucky to go paint. And we are planning on listening to Ella Enchanted on the way. We started that last week and hopefully we can finish it up on the way there. I painted the first coat in our bedroom tonight, and all I was planning to do was like tape off, and I got one whole coat done and it's like 9 o'clock. So I'm kind of tired, and I realized once I got here, I started Mark of the Raven last night before I went to bed, and I forgot to bring it with me. So, but I did remember to bring I Capture the Castle, which I'm like a chapter or 2 behind in, and I also brought Mere Christianity. So I do have books to read, and then we were gonna try to do a little bit of school, but probably won't do much. But I did bring Robin Hood. This is like our literature read for this term. And Claire loves it. That was the book she picked to bring with us. So we'll probably do that as a read aloud too. So I have like those 3 books that I'm reading. And then I did start the audiobook for The Shape of Mercy by Susan Meisner. I don't know how I feel about it yet. It's still so early. I've done like the first chapter and that's it. And then I started the audiobook for the second book of Binti. And I think I would prefer to read it physically. The narrator is really good, but she pronounces so many like Namibian words, which I didn't know how to pronounce, which is kind of nice. But like I'm not making the connections from the first book because she's saying them so quickly. So I'm not sure if I will listen to that or if I'll just get the physical copy. And then on the way here, we did finish Ella Enchanted, and oh my goodness, I loved it so much. It was just like I finally found a romance that I love and was so invested in, because it was not love at first sight. They were friends. They had known each other since they were children. And honestly, the story makes so much more sense with like the spin that they put on it. Like that the prince already knew who Ella was and everything just made so much more sense than like the fairy tale where he falls in love with this random girl and he forgets to even ask what her name is. I can't even remember what she looks like, so he just has to try slippers on every single girl in the kingdom. And like I've always thought that that was like really dumb. I'm like, you fell in love with this girl, you didn't even ask her name, and you don't know anything about her or where she lives, and you don't even remember what she looks like, so you can't narrow it down and be like, she was blonde and about this height and size. Like you can't even but anyways, yeah, so it just made a lot more sense. Claire and I absolutely loved it. There were parts of it that were funny. We felt like the ending was like perfectly resolved for like all the villains and everything else. Like, yeah, we just really loved it and really enjoyed it. So I'm gonna get ready for bed and probably read a little bit of I Capture the Castle and then get up and paint some more in the morning. Good morning. It's Friday morning and I am the worst vlogger this week. I don't know why I decided to vlog this week. I guess I thought it would be fun to show clips of me painting and stuff, but I just like have not been setting up my camera to do that. My camera's been being kind of funky. So yeah, so here we are. This is our last day in Kentucky painting, and then we go back home to Illinois for like 3 weeks and then we're moving. So yesterday I got all 3 bedrooms done and started the living room, and I need to finish the living room. I'm gonna try to see if I can get the kitchen done, but if I can't get that done, that's okay, because like there's not gonna be a ton of furniture to move around in the kitchen to try to paint. So I just want to paint the rooms that are gonna have a lot of furniture in them, because then I don't have to move them around after I just moved in. In terms of reading, I have done very little physical reading because the only time I really have to read is very early in the morning and then right before I go to bed. And every night I've been so tired that I can only like read a page or two before I fall asleep. But I have read the first 3 chapters, maybe 4. 3, I think, of I Capture the Castle, and then I finished part 1 of Mere Christianity, which is great because the discussion for part 1 is on Sunday, so that way I will be able to do that. And I have been listening to The Shape of Mercy by Susan Meisner. I'm like 56% of the way through that, so I might actually be able to finish that today while I'm painting. I'm not really sure how I feel about it. It's definitely like easy listening, which is fine, like in the background. I don't know if it's like the narrator or if it's me, but it doesn't seem to be packing like the emotional punch that I get the feeling was intended. But again, I'm only halfway through, so it might be a lot better as I continue. But it's about this girl. She's a college student. She's transcribing the diary of a girl who lived during the Salem witch trials and then was accused and executed for witchcraft. And I find the whole Salem witch trial thing like super fascinating, but I don't really find the main protagonist who's transcribing it all that interesting. Like, she's not, I don't know, she's not annoying or anything. I just don't feel super attached to her as a character, I guess. I feel more attached to the girl who lived during the Salem witch trials, and I think maybe it's just because that part of the story interests me more. The other girl, wow, I can't even remember her name. That tells you how invested I am. She is just, she like grew up really wealthy and decided her act of rebellion was to go to like a state school instead of like an Ivy League school. And so she's going to school there and kind of like really, I guess, learning about classism and just like the different groups of people, because she always grew up wealthy, but her roommate grew up, I don't know if she grew up poor, but she definitely grew up like working class. And so the differences with that and everything. Claire and I also read some Robin Hood together last night, so that was fun. That is just like always enjoyable to read. It's written in really old English, so I've always been kind of concerned that she's not going to really understand what's going on, but she totally does, and she loves it. She just loves the rivalry between the sheriff and Robin Hood. So yeah, I'm gonna go get some painting done and listen to some more of The Shape of Mercy and hopefully get a lot of painting done today. So I finished The Shape of Mercy and the living room. I still need to do that hallway back there, but if I don't do that till after we move in, I'm okay with that. Anyway, there's people mowing here, so hopefully it doesn't get loud and it's not too echoey in here. But anyways, so I finished listening to The Shape of Mercy, and I don't know how I feel about it. I'm probably gonna have to let it percolate a little bit. The main character's name is Lauren. I couldn't remember earlier, but the main character's name is Lauren, and I don't really like her very much. Not just, I don't know, she's just a really bland protagonist that I just don't care about at all. So there's that. And then the ending seemed to be justifying something and making something seem very heroic that was not, in my opinion. If you've read the book, you might know what I'm talking about. I probably will leave a very spoilery review on Goodreads, but needless to say, I was very not impressed with the book. I liked the Salem witch trial element to it. I thought that element was interesting. I liked the old woman who owned the diary, Abigail, but apart from that, like, I didn't really care about Lauren. I didn't care about any of the plot lines that were happening in present day, and I don't like how the story was resolved. So I don't know, everyone says that they love Susan Meisner, and it was easy to read. So for other books like that, they'll be easy to read. But yeah, I don't know. I've heard As Bright as Heaven is really good. So I mean, I will try more Susan Meisner. But like I said, I was just very unimpressed with the book as a whole. So, and I thought that parts of it were actually quite problematic. So anyways, I need to try to tackle the kitchen. I haven't even started it, and it's like 3 o'clock. We're supposed to leave tomorrow morning. So hopefully I can get that done. But there's a lot of cabinets, and then the walls that don't have cabinets have like big archways. Here, I'll show you. So this is the kitchen, and there's a big archway there, a big archway there, and a door there, and another door on the other side of the fridge. And then this is all cabinets, and the only part I'd have to paint is the top. So I'm hopeful that it won't take that long, but we'll see. I am like covered in paint. And I feel like I've met a bunch of people for the first time, either like yesterday or today, and I'm just looking good, all sweaty and covered in paint. So, oh well. Anyways, I need to find a new audiobook. So I wasn't loving the Binti audiobook, but I do have the 3rd book of the Wollstonecraft Detective Agency audiobook. So might go for that because it's only a few hours long, and I really enjoyed the 2nd book on audio. So it's Saturday, and we are about ready to head home. I'm just sitting outside for a minute after picking up my mess in the house, but I'm exhausted. It's been a lot of painting. It kind of like makes you sore in places that you didn't even remember you had muscles there. But I got almost the entire house done, so that feels like quite an accomplishment in 2 days. So yesterday I did start book 3 of the Wollstonecraft Detective Agency, which is the case of the counterfeit criminal. I think I'm like 30% through that or something, but my signal's not great here, so I was kind of spotty listening to it. So I might listen to more of it on the way home, but if not, it'll be packing next week. But it's cute and fun, but I can't tell what classic detective story it riffs off, if any, since the first 2 riffed off of Wilkie Collins books, so I'm not really sure yet. But anyways, I feel like I have not been the most terrific vlogger. Usually I'm better about having little clips of what's going on, but I have just been so busy painting. So anyways, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please hit like and also subscribe, and I will see you again next time.